My name is Ethan Ward. I'm 42 years old, and for most of my life I believed I had a pretty good sense of people. It was part instinct, part experience, part the kind of hard lessons you only learn once. I wasn't naive. I wasn't the type to fall for illusions, and I sure as hell wasn't the kind of man who missed the obvious signs. At least, that's what I thought. I lived just outside Denver, in a quiet neighborhood with identical mailboxes and driveways full of cars people can barely afford. I bought the house 10 years ago, back when I imagined a family filling each room. Instead, the only thing that grew inside those walls was silence. Still, it was mine. My start over. My proof that even after a rough divorce, life could be rebuilt if you were stubborn enough. And then I met Claire. Beautiful in a subtle, almost disarming way. 36. Graphic designer, sharp mind, curious eyes, a smile that always felt like it hid something soft. We met at a hardware store, of all places, both reaching for the same pack of screws. She laughed. I apologized. Somehow that small thing turned into coffee, then dinner, then weekends together, then a year of shared mornings that convinced me maybe the universe hadn't forgotten me after all. With her, everything felt easy. It scared me sometimes. Easy things usually come with hidden edges, but she made my life feel alive again. When she moved into my house, I didn't hesitate. I wanted her there. I wanted someone to come home to besides my own thoughts. I wanted the warmth. I wanted her. And I thought she wanted me. Funny how wrong a man can be without noticing a damn thing. The first crack appeared 3 months ago, small, almost invisible. She came home late, said she was buried in a project with her colleague, Grayson, a name I'd heard before in passing, never with emotion attached to it, just a coworker in her office. Nothing special. But that night, she smelled like cologne that wasn't mine. I asked about it. She laughed, said it must have been from the subway or the office elevator. I let it go. I wanted to trust her. I chose trust over intuition, and in hindsight, that was the exact moment I began digging my own grave. The second crack came a week later. I woke up at 2:17 a.m. to an empty bed. She wasn't in the bathroom, wasn't downstairs. I found her in the laundry room of all places, sitting on the floor with her phone in her hands, and a look on her face like she'd been caught doing something illegal. She hid the screen the second I walked in, said she couldn't sleep, said she was scrolling mindlessly. I nodded and pretended to believe it, but something in her had shifted, and for the first time, I felt the temperature of the house drop even though the thermostat hadn't moved. The third crack was what broke everything. 2 weeks after that night, Claire rushed out the door early, claiming she had an emergency meeting. She'd barely looked at me, barely kissed me, and when she left, something cold slid through me, a thought I didn't want but couldn't silence. I walked into her home office after she left. I don't know why. Maybe I was searching for reassurance. Maybe I was chasing the truth before it became unavoidable. Her laptop was still on. Unlocked. The universe doesn't usually hand you answers on a silver plate. When it does, you learn to pay attention. I opened her email, not because I enjoyed snooping, but because I already knew there was something to find, and there it was, dozens of messages. Not professional, not friendly, intimate, secretive, wrong. Between her and Grayson, some of it was emotional, some of it was physical, some of it was just plain stupid. One message read, "Last night was risky, but worth it. He has no idea. Let's be smarter next time." Another said, "I'll tell him soon. I just need a little more time." My hands went numb. My vision blurred at the edges, not from tears, from pure, concentrated disbelief. I scrolled further. Photos. Private ones. Ones she'd taken in my house, on my bed, sometimes in clothes I bought her, sometimes in nothing at all. And then the message that turned my stomach inside out. "He's too trusting." I almost feel bad, but not enough to stop. I closed the laptop before I punched it. I sat in her chair for 20 minutes, breathing like a man coming back from the bottom of the lake. Anger didn't come right away. Sadness didn't either. What came first was humiliation. The kind that claws through your bones and settles in places no one else sees. She'd played me. She'd lied to me. She'd used my trust like a weapon against me. But the worst part, I still loved her. That's the poisonous thing about betrayal. The heart doesn't turn off just because the truth does. I stood up, walked out of her office, and stared at the house we'd built together. Every memory, every morning, every quiet moment suddenly felt contaminated, like someone had bled into the water supply. And then a thought settled in my mind, heavy, inevitable, calm. They think I'm the fool in this story. They have no idea what I become when someone tries to break me. Because betrayal doesn't end with tears. Sometimes it ends with strategy. Sometimes with destruction. Sometimes with justice that doesn't come from courts. I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. People like Claire and Grayson don't deserve confrontation. They deserve consequences. Real ones. And if I played this the right way, their lives were about to unravel far worse than mine ever had. The next morning, Claire walked through the front door like nothing had happened, like she hadn't spent the night with another man or written messages that burned holes in my memory. She smiled at me over the kitchen counter, hair messy, cheeks flushed from the cold. "Morning," she said lightly. I grabbed pastries. I nodded, calm, controlled, a man who knew everything yet revealed nothing. She set the box down, stretched, kissed my cheek. Her lips felt foreign, like they didn't belong to me anymore. Maybe they never had. While she ate, I studied her not as a lover anymore, but as a subject. Her movements, her tone, the way she avoided my eyes just long enough to hide something, the way her phone stayed face down, screen locked. She didn't know I'd seen her messages. She didn't know she'd already crossed a line she could never walk back over. But I wasn't stupid enough to confront her. Not yet. Confrontation gives cheaters closure. I wasn't offering her that luxury. Instead, I forced myself to play along, to act like the same trusting man she'd written about in her emails. "You're up early," I said casually. She shrugged. "Lot on my mind, I bet." She finished half her pastry, checked her watch, kissed me again, this time even quicker, and rushed out with some excuse about a presentation. The second the front door closed, I locked it behind her. And then the real work began. Step 1. Understand the enemy. A betrayal like hers had layers. Emotional, physical, logistical. You don't dismantle something like that by reacting. You dismantle it by studying, planning, and executing with precision. I started with the basics: where she went, who she talked to, how often she lied without blinking. I wasn't stalking her, I was documenting her, the way victims document predators, because that's what she'd become. I installed a GPS tracker on her car. Nothing fancy, nothing illegal, just one of those Bluetooth devices anyone could buy, the kind that synced with my phone. I'd placed it in the spare tire compartment 2 days earlier when she left to pick up dinner. Then I checked her laptop again. I didn't have to search far. She kept every digital sin neatly organized. I screenshotted everything, backed it up to 3 hard drives, printed physical copies, and stored them in a locked drawer in my garage. Not because I wanted to destroy her immediately, but because people like Claire only confess when evidence leaves them nowhere to breathe. When I finished cataloging her world, I opened a new folder and labeled it Claire Truthone Day. She'd see it. Not yet. Step 2. Understand the colleague. Grayson. I typed his name into every platform I could, and sure enough, he was exactly the type Claire would fall for. Overconfident, undertalented, smiling just a little too hard for someone hiding something. He was 38, single, lived in a loft downtown, slept with half the office, from what I could gather. The kind of man who made cheating look like a sport. I wrote everything down: address, habits, social media posts, company information. Not because I wanted to attack him physically, but because men like him eventually trip over their own arrogance. All I needed to do was give him a little push, I wasn't rushing the process. Revenge only works when you understand the structure you're about to collapse. Step 3. The slip. It happened sooner than I expected. That afternoon, Claire texted me. Working late tonight. Don't wait up in the past. That heart emoji would have meant something. Now it looked like a scratch mark across my screen. I waited 15 minutes, then opened the GPS tracker app. Her car was not at her office. It was parked behind a residential building downtown. Grayson's building. I stared at the map without emotion. Not anger, not pain. Just confirmation. The truth didn't hurt me anymore. It sharpened me. I grabbed my coat, my keys, but not to drive to her. No. Showing up would ruin everything. It would end the game far too early, before the pieces were even positioned. Instead, I drove to a quiet diner 2 blocks away. A place with good coffee and bad lighting, perfect for being invisible. I sat there for 2 hours, watching the GPS sit perfectly still. And then, it moved. Her car left the back lot and drove toward the interstate. 2 minutes later, she texted, heading home soon. I'm exhausted. Exhausted from what? Working late? Or whatever she and Grayson did in that loft of his. But again I didn't react. I played my part. Drive safe, I typed. For words from a man she still believed was blind. When she returned home, she looked freshly showered. I wondered if she scrubbed herself clean because she thought I'd noticed something. She kissed me. I let her. She curled up beside me on the couch, laying her head on my shoulder. She didn't know that the warmth between us was already dead. I studied her face as she scrolled her phone, hiding the screen. People forget that silence is louder than words when guilt fills the room. Rough day? She asked eventually. Something like that. She nodded, not even caring enough to ask more. This is how cheaters think. Their world is the only one that matters. Their lies are just part of the landscape. Later that night she fell asleep with her back to me, something she'd never done until the cheating began. Her breathing was slow, steady, oblivious. I lay beside her, eyes open in the dark. And that's when I realized something important. I didn't just want the truth. I wanted justice so precise she'd think it was coincidence. I wanted consequences so perfectly timed she'd believe the universe itself had turned on her. But to do that, I needed one more thing. I needed her to trust me even more. People who betray you never expect you to walk closer while they're stabbing you. But that's exactly what I planned to do. Trust is a strange thing. Once it breaks, the pieces don't cut the person who shattered it. They cut the one who tries to hold them. But I wasn't holding anything anymore. I was placing each broken shard exactly where it needed to be. And Claire, she had no idea she was walking barefoot into all of it. The following week was a study in contrasts. By day, I played the devoted partner, coffee ready in the morning, a kiss on the cheek, casual questions she thought were harmless. I listened to her lies the way a surgeon listens to a heartbeat before operating, clinically, without emotion. By night, I built the framework of my plan. The goal wasn't to destroy her instantly. That would be mercy. No, my goal was simple. Make Claire expose herself, make her world collapse through her own hands, and make sure she never knew I guided every step. To do that, I needed access to more than just her location. I needed access to her mind. The office party her company hosted, a quarterly mixer. She hadn't planned to invite me. Normally she did, but this time, she hesitated, avoided the subject, changed topics whenever I brought up work, which made my decision easy. 2 days before the event, I told her, thinking I'll come to the party with you this time. Her reaction was small but powerful. Her eyes widened for half a second, breath catching in her throat. She masked it quickly with a smile, but it was too late. Fear, panic, guilt, 3 facial muscles gave it away. I mean, of course, she said. Yeah, that'd be nice, nice. Sure. She spent the next 48 hours tense, checking her phone every 10 minutes, pacing the apartment, occasionally biting her nails, a habit I hadn't seen since the start of our relationship. Who was she worried about? Grayson, her coworkers, Someone recognizing something she couldn't hide. Perfect. The night of the party, she dressed in a black dress I'd always loved. I wondered if she wore it for me or because she needed the confidence it gave her. Maybe both. We drove in silence. Her fingers drummed nervously against her thigh. She kept checking her lipstick in the mirror, though it hadn't smudged once. "You okay?" I asked softly. "Yeah, just tired." Lies stacked like bricks. At the event, the office was full glass walls, dim lights, people laughing too loudly while pretending to enjoy corporate wine. Claire guided me through introductions, her boss, teammates, younger employees who adored her. She smiled, made small talk, laughed at jokes I knew she didn't think were funny. She was trying too hard. That meant she was hiding something. I let go of her hand and drifted through the room. Part of revenge is understanding the environment your enemy thinks they control. Then I saw him. Grayson. Tall, expensive suit, fake confidence. He glanced at Claire before he saw me. Their eye contact was too sharp, too charged. And in that tiny flicker of panic that ran across his face when he realized I was with her, I found confirmation I didn't need but enjoyed anyway. Claire stiffened beside me. I smiled. "Is that your colleague?" I asked casually. "Who?" She said it too quickly, too flat. I nodded toward Grayson. "Him? Oh, yeah. Just someone from the Chicago project." Her voice cracked on project. She didn't notice, but I did. "Let's say hi," I said. She nearly choked. Before she could react, I walked toward him. He forced a smile, the kind people put on when the ground opens under them. "Hey," I said warmly, extending my hand. "I'm Ethan." He hesitated, but he shook my hand. His grip was too strong, classic insecure male behavior. "Grayson," he said, "I've heard a lot about you." I added. His eyes flickered fear, guilt, calculation. "Oh, nothing bad, I hope, liar." "No," I said. "Claire speaks highly of your teamwork." She looked like she was about to pass out. Grayson nodded stiffly. "Yeah, she's great to work with." The tension was thick enough to chew. I let the silence sit. People reveal themselves when they're uncomfortable. And then it happened. A woman joined us, older, sharp eyes, observant. She glanced at Claire, then at Grayson, then at me. Something about her expression made Claire flinch. "Claire," the woman said coldly, "didn't expect to see you two so close." Claire froze. My pulse sharpened. Who was this woman? She looked at Grayson again, narrowing her eyes, lips tight. Oh, she knew something. Maybe everything. "Sorry," I said politely. "We haven't met." She extended her hand. "Melissa, HR?" "HR?" A predator's shadow passed over both Claire and Grayson. "Beautiful." She excused herself after a moment, leaving my girlfriend pale as paper, clutching her champagne glass like it was a lifeline. "I need some air," Claire whispered. She walked away quickly, heels clicking across the marble floor. I waited 5 seconds, then followed. I found her outside, leaning against a stone pillar, breathing heavily. "You okay?" I asked gently. "Yeah," she said, too fast. "Just overwhelmed." I stepped closer. "Claire," I whispered, "is there something you're not telling me?" She stared at me, eyes glassy, terrified of the wrong thing, my suspicion, not her actions. "No," she whispered. "Of course not." I nodded slowly. "I believe you." The biggest lie I'd said all night. The moment she cracked on the drive home, she was silent. Not tired, silent. Paranoid silent. The next morning she woke up early and spent almost an hour silently typing on her phone, deleting things, coordinating stories, warning Grayson. It didn't matter. Every message she erased, I already had screenshots of. After she left for work, I went straight to my garage, unlocked the drawer where I kept her secrets, emails, pictures, hotel confirmations, texts, work calendars, GPS logs. I laid everything out like evidence on a detective's board. And then I noticed something new, something she must have added recently. A private calendar event for Friday night. Location: a hotel outside the city. Name: client dinner, 7 p.m. But there was no client. There never had been. Friday at 7 p.m. She was meeting Grayson again. She didn't know that the hotel had security cameras. She didn't know I already had a contact who worked night shifts as a desk clerk. She didn't know I'd already planned the exact moment the ground beneath her would collapse. She had no idea she was walking straight into a trap, not one I built out of jealousy or rage, but out of something far more dangerous: patience. There's a special kind of silence a man enters when he's already made his decision, a place where emotions stop arguing, memories stop replaying, and everything becomes execution cold, steady, inevitable. By Friday morning, I lived inside that silence. Claire didn't notice. Or maybe she noticed too late. She kissed me before work, but her lips barely touched mine, like her mind was already somewhere else. Somewhere with him. She left the apartment at 8:07 a.m. By 8:15, I was in the garage, gathering everything I needed: a camera, a USB stick, a prepaid phone, an envelope thick enough to ruin her career in seconds, and a small, black box I'd been saving for the right moment. By noon, the first domino was already falling. The HR woman. You don't ignore a woman like Melissa. Sharp eyes, sharp memory, sharper instincts. She knew something was off between Claire and Grayson. She recognized the signs because she had probably seen them before. Isn't just paperwork. It's the department where secrets go to get formalized. At 1:30 p.m., I walked into her office with an envelope in my jacket. She sat behind her desk, typing something aggressively. "Ethan," she said, surprised. "Is everything all right?" I closed the door behind me. "I think you already know the answer." Her eyebrows twitched just slightly. "I have concerns," she admitted. "Good," I said softly, "because I have information." She looked at the envelope before I even set it on her desk. That told me everything. She had suspicions, but no proof. I gave her proof: emails, screenshots, call logs, the exact dates Claire and Grayson worked late, the hotel confirmations, the security footage my contact had passed me from 2 weeks earlier. She flipped through it slowly. Her face tightened, her jaw clenched, and then she exhaled sharply. "This is serious." "Yes," I said, "and it's only what I'm willing to share." She looked up. "So, why bring it here? Why not confront them?" "Oh, I will," I replied calmly. "But not yet." Her eyes sharpened. "What exactly do you want from me?" "Nothing illegal," I said. A pause, just timing. I leaned closer. "Claire and Grayson have a meeting tonight. I want you to schedule a mandatory audit first thing Monday morning. Something unexpected. Something requiring every personal device to be checked." Her lips parted slightly. "You're planning something?" "No," I said quietly. "I'm preventing something." I left her office at 1:52 p.m. By 2 p.m., she sent a company-wide message about the audit. By 2:03 p.m., Claire opened it on her phone. By 2:04 p.m., she panicked, and that was all I needed. Watching her unravel when she came home at 5:20 p.m., she was a mess. Clumsy, shaky, distracted. She couldn't even hold her keys properly. "Long day?" I asked. "Yeah," she whispered. "Just pressure at work." She rushed to the bedroom, saying she needed to change for a client dinner. She didn't realize I was standing in the doorway, watching her hands tremble as she zipped her dress. Her guilt wasn't eating her alive. It was choking her. "You sure you're okay?" I asked gently. She nodded too quickly. "I won't be late," she added. That wasn't my question. She swallowed hard. "I'm fine, Ethan." Another lie. One she didn't have the strength to decorate. She left at 6:18 p.m. 10 minutes later, I was following her. The hotel, it was one of those business hotels built for people who needed anonymity, not luxury. Chrome glass, shallow lighting, and a staff trained not to ask questions. Claire parked on the farthest side where cameras were broken. She walked fast, head down, like a teenager sneaking out. Grayson was already waiting in the lobby. He smiled too widely, too nervously. They didn't hug, didn't touch. Guilt creates distance. Perfect. I stayed across the street, watching through the windows, my camera ready. They talked softly, Claire gesturing frantically. He was trying to calm her. She was unraveling. At 7:21 p.m., they got into the elevator together. I didn't need to follow. I already had the room number. The clerk texted me 5 minutes earlier. While they were upstairs, he walked into the lobby, calm and confident, because when a man knows the truth, fear becomes optional. I went to the front desk. A young man with curly hair looked up. He recognized me immediately. "Fourth floor," he whispered. "They're inside." "Thank you," I said. I slipped him a folded bill. "You didn't see me." He nodded once. Then I placed the black box on the counter. "What's that?" he asked quietly. "Something that will force the truth into the light." I went to the elevator. I didn't press the button yet. Instead, I opened the prepaid phone and typed a message. To Claire, 3 words. "I know everything." I didn't hit send. Not yet. Timing matters more than revenge. 418. I walked the hallway slowly, listening. Most hotel sounds are predictable: TVs, laughter, footsteps. But from 418, silence. That meant they were sitting, talking, crumbling. I placed the small transmitter from the black box beneath their door. A soft click confirmed it was attached. Then I took up my phone. The screen glowed. I pressed send. Inside the room, I heard movement. A gasp, a metallic clatter, someone dropping a phone, a chair scraping. Then Claire's voice, shaken, frantic. "Oh my God, Ethan knows." "Perfect." Grayson's voice followed, low, panicked. "Don't freak out. Don't open the door. He's not here. You're overreacting." He was wrong. Very wrong. I knocked 1 time, not loud. Just enough. Claire's breath caught. Grayson cursed. I didn't speak, didn't move, just waited. Footsteps approached the door. Stop. Silence. Then Claire whispered, terrified, "Ethan." My pulse didn't change. I didn't answer. I slipped an envelope under the door, the second one. Not for HR. For them. Inside were printed photos, dates, times, receipts, screenshots. The complete truth. Everything they thought they had erased. Moment later I heard Claire sob. Not guilty tears. Tears of someone who finally realizes the ground beneath her isn't ground at all. It's the edge of a cliff. I walked away. Didn't wait for the door to open. I didn't want to see their faces. The point wasn't confrontation. The point was collapse. And collapse doesn't require an audience. As I reached the lobby, my phone buzzed. Claire didn't call. She texted. 1 sentence. "Please, don't end us." I stared at it. Then put the phone in my pocket. Tonight wasn't the end of anything. It was only the beginning. Some men choose revenge in a moment of rage. For others, it grows quietly like mold, silent, patient, spreading until everything it touches becomes something else. I'd like to say my revenge was a single decision, but the truth is uglier. It was a transformation. And the moment I left that hotel hallway, I understood something terrifyingly simple. I wasn't done, not even close. The morning after, Claire didn't come home that night. She didn't text again. She didn't call. She didn't even ask if I was okay. Guilt is a coward like that. When the sun rose, I stood by the window with a cup of coffee, watching cars slide through the morning traffic. The world kept moving, unaware that my life had split cleanly into before and after. At 7:14 a.m., the building door buzzed. Claire walked in. Or rather, what was left of her, makeup smeared, hair a mess, eyes swollen, hands shaking so hard she couldn't hold her key. When I opened the door, she looked at me like a prisoner facing her judge. "Ethan," she whispered. Her voice cracked on my name, but sympathy, it didn't even flicker inside me. I stepped aside, letting her in without a word. She hovered near the table like she didn't know how to exist in the same room as me. "Can we talk?" she asked, voice small. "We will," I said calmly. "But I want you to say the truth." Out loud. Her throat tightened, and then, almost choking, "I slept with him more than once." I added. She closed her eyes. "Yes, and you lied every time I asked." "Yes, and you plan to keep lying." Silence. Her breathing hitched. I sat down across from her. "When did it start?" She swallowed hard. January, 6 months. 6 months of texts, hotels, meetings, whispers. 6 months of me loving someone who already had one foot out the door. Why? I asked. She flinched, not from the word itself but from the answer she knew would hurt me. I don't know. I was stressed. Work was. I slammed my palm on the table. Not violently, not yelling, just enough force to stop her excuses mid-sentence. Try again, her voice cracked. I felt empty. I felt like I was losing myself. And he paid attention to me. There it was, the dagger, precise, honest, and something inside me hardened. You destroyed us, I said. For attention, she wiped her eyes, trying not to break again. I'm so sorry. But apologies are currency that only matter before the damage. After, they're worthless. The line I drew. He didn't yell, didn't insult her, didn't threaten. That would give her power. Instead, I spoke calmly, too calmly. We're not fixing this, I said. Her lips trembled. Please just give me a chance to know. I looked her straight in the eyes. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. She broke physically, emotionally, completely. Knees buckled, hands covering her face like she was trying to hide from her own reflection. I love you, she sobbed. You loved the comfort I gave you, I corrected. Not me. I stood up. You have until Sunday to pack your things. You're moving out? Her head shot up, eyes wide with panic. Ethan, please, this is my home too. No, I said quietly. It was our home. Past tense. She fell silent, because she knew it was over. But ending us wasn't enough. Not for what they did to me. Destroying Grace. Sony didn't have to lift a finger. He destroyed himself. Monday morning, the audit hit the company like a bomb. Phones confiscated. Messages checked. Emails reviewed. Security footage traced. Office access logs analyzed. Hotel expenses matched with timestamps. Grayson was the first to crack. By 11:45 a.m. He was escorted out of the building, face white, jaw clenched, holding a cardboard box full of shattered illusions. By 4 p.m. His wife found out. By 7 p.m. She kicked him out. By midnight. Grayson blocked Claire's number. She tried calling him 16 times. I saw every missed call because I had mirrored her phone weeks ago. Man, she risked everything for. Didn't even want her when the consequences arrived. That's the thing about people like him. They love the thrill, not the fallout. Her escape ended the same day it began, and she knew it. The breakdown. Tuesday night. I found her sitting on the floor of the living room, surrounded by half-packed boxes. She looked like someone whose life had been reduced to debris. I have nowhere to go, she whispered. Your sister has a couch. She hates me. She'll hate you more if you show up unannounced. Claire wiped her face. Do you really want me gone? Yes. Her breath faltered. You said you loved me. I did, I answered. But you killed that man. A sob crawled out of her throat. She stood up and took one step toward me. Is there anything I can do to fix this? I looked at her for a long moment. And here's the cruel thing, I said quietly. I don't want to fix it. Not anymore. Her body deflated. Emotionally, she collapsed. But she still whispered one last question. Did you ever cheat on me? No, I said. I don't destroy what I love. She stared at me as something inside her shattered beyond repair. The final morning she left on Sunday morning. 3 suitcases. 1 backpack. No dignity left. When she closed the door behind her, a strange silence filled the apartment. Not relief, not peace, something darker. Because revenge doesn't heal. It just clears the field so pain has more room to breathe. I walked to the window, looked down at the street, and watched her get into a taxi. She didn't look back. Neither did I. 3 weeks later. People expect stories like this to end with triumph or closure, but real life isn't cinematic. It's quieter. Empty evenings, cold dinners, a bed that's too big, a home that feels like a crime scene. I didn't miss her. I missed the version of me that existed before I found out. I became more careful, more isolated, more quiet. And sometimes late at night, when the city softened, I let myself ask, did I go too far? Did I ruin two lives when one ruin would have been enough? Maybe. But then I remember her voice, her lies, her betrayal, and the thought passes like a shadow. The truth, people think revenge is about payback, but it's not. Revenge is about restoration, restoring your sense of worth, your sense of power, your sense of self. I lost all of that when she betrayed me. I got it back the moment she walked away. That's the ending. Not triumphant, not tragic, just real, just mine.